Going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday, halfway through the week. Got a decently long video for you today. A lot of buyers do not know the step-by-step process of buying a house, so we're going to walk you through the step-by-step process. So this is a long video, not going to really chit-chat. I'm going to try to keep it as short as possible. So let's just get right into it. First step, number one, you've decided you're done renting. You've decided you're done staying with your parents, whatever the case may be. You want to buy a house. You're ready to get serious about this thing. Sit down, make a couple lists. I know that sounds corny. I know that sounds cheesy, but that's the case. That's the best thing to do here. Sit down, make a list of things you absolutely cannot live without on your next home. Then make a list of things that are negotiable, things that you'd like to have, but you could overlook if the house fits everything else. So those are your two lists. Make sure you keep those lists throughout the whole process because you're going to be tweaking it through the process. And once you're done with the final list, make sure you stick to it during the home buying process. Very important. I've seen people waver on it, but that list is of the utmost importance to make this home buying process as easy can be. Next up, number two, make sure you have to sit down and calculate and make sure you can afford enough home. The general rule of thumb is 28% of your monthly income is how much you can afford in your mortgage. Obviously, that is a case-by-case basis. If you have car payments, if you have student loan payments, if you have credit card payments, whatever the case may be, if you have other payments, that's probably going to differ a little bit for you. But the typical case is 28% of your monthly income is how much you can afford for a mortgage. So sit down, go ahead and calculate what you can afford for your monthly mortgage and adjust your list accordingly because obviously price point is going to dictate if you get everything that you've written down on your list. Step three and four, in my opinion, can flip-flop a little bit depending on your situation. We'll go over it. But step three, go find a realtor that can help you throughout the process. Go ahead and sit down with a realtor, interview some realtors, have a buyer consultation with realtors. I'm right here. Always reach out to me, of course. But most realtors are going to have loan guys that they trust that can help throughout the process, that'll make the process easier for you. They have inspection guys, they have appraisal guys, whatever the case may be. Most realtors are going to have all that access to you. Sit down and have a realtor. Go over with the realtor what you've decided you can afford on a monthly payment for your mortgage. Also go over with the realtor your list of absolute musts, and the realtor will tell you, hey, look, we can get all that. We can get your absolute musts in that price range. Or the realtor is going to tell you, look, man, you're asking for too much. You can't afford all that. This is where we're at. We're going to have to adjust that list a little bit. Again, we're going to keep adjusting this list throughout the whole process. Step four, and again, this could also be three, but step four, get pre-qualified. It could be step three if you know a loan guy personally, if you are friends with a loan guy, if you've dealt with loan guys before at your bank or whatever the case may be. This could be step three, but step four, get pre-qualified. No realtor is going to take you out. No good realtor worth anything is going to take you out before you get pre-qualified. Again, a buyer's consultation is different. A realtor sit down and have that conversation with you, but they won't physically take you out. Or they shouldn't physically take you out without getting you pre-qualified before they start showing you homes. It's a waste of their time. It's a waste of your time. It's a waste of the seller's time. It's a waste of everybody's time to, get you pre-qualified. Once you get pre-qualified, see if what you got pre-qualified for matches up with what you estimated you can afford. Adjust your list accordingly again. Step five, here we go. Going out house hunting, go see some homes. I've been in both end of the spectrum. I've showed somebody one home and said, this is it, let's make it happen. One home, this is the one we want. I've shown people 25, 30 homes before, and that's how many it took. So both ends of the spectrum, see how many homes you have to see before you find the right one. Step six, make an offer. I've been over this time and time again. It's a seller's market right now. You have to be aggressive, big time, terms. It's more than just the sale price. It's how quick you can close, how much your initial deposit check is, all kinds of things. Get creative. Not all realtors are going to do this, but I've actually even put in offers where I've cut some of my commission to make the offer a little bit more enticing to the seller. Again, not all realtors are going to do that, but I'm not all realtors. Number seven, you get a contract accepted. Congratulations, it's a seller's market. You did it. This is a big step right here to get a contract accepted. All parties will sign. Once all parties have signed and all parties have a copy of the fully signed contract, you have 3 business days. Saturdays, Sundays, holidays do not count you have 3 business days to be in an attorney review period. So if you have an attorney, the attorney can review the contract. If it's a very standard contract and the other side doesn't have an attorney, you don't need an attorney. But if the other side has an attorney, or you have a bunch of addendums, you have a bunch of stipulations, you have a bunch of, this is going, whatever the whole thing may be, every case is different, then you should get an attorney if it's complicated. Don't cheap out. You can have an attorney review it for about $500-600. Don't cheap out on that. The next, we're going to do the inspection and due diligence period. So after you come out of the attorney review period, you typically have 10 to 14 days, depending on what was negotiated in the contract, to do your due diligence and inspection period. This is home inspection, this is termite inspection, this is radon, whatever inspection you can think of. If you want to have somebody come out, and a concrete specialist look at the foundation, if you want to have a roofing specialist come out, look at the roof, whatever you want to do, get all of your inspections in those 10 to 14 days. Typically, a good home inspector can steer you in the right direction to make sure the home is good to go. You get your termite and get your radon, $400 or $500, depending on the inspector and the company that they work for. Next up, you have the appraisal. That's the next hurdle. Typically, it's going to have to appraise for the sale price, and if it's FHA, there's going to be some guidelines. It's going to have to hit for it to be able to be sold and be approved. If it doesn't hit those guidelines, then the seller's going to have to do the repairs or take money off and you do the repairs, whatever. You guys have to negotiate on that. Next step, we have the underwriting process. You were pre-approved. That doesn't mean you were approved. You have to now prove everything that you told the loan guy. Initially, you have to, 2 or 3 years of taxes, 2 or 3 years pay stubs, the whole 9 yards. Every situation is different. The underwriting process is very long. It's time consuming. It can be frustrating. They can give you a list of 10 to 15 things right off the get-go that you need. You give them all those things. They're going to be on you about it because time is of the essence. You finally get them all those things, and then they send you another 5 to 10 things you have to do. Everybody goes through this process. I know it's going to be very long. It's going to be very frustrating. You're going to be stressed out, but everybody goes through this process. It's an absolute must. You cannot get away from this process. It has to happen. I put this on here. Next step, CO. Typically the seller, the owner of the home, is going to get the CO, but with how crazy the market is, there are definitely sellers that don't want to deal with it, and there's definitely sellers that can get away with saying that the buyer is responsible for obtaining the CO. CO is the certificate of occupancy to live in the home and through that township, so you get a township to come out and inspect. Typically, every township's different, but typically fire extinguisher in the kitchen, fire detectors, CO detectors, make sure the house is not falling in, caving in, it's not going to hurt anybody living there, and they'll give you the CO. Again, every township's different, but that's the typical things. Next up, you're going to call your utilities about a week and a half before you close and have everything switched into your name, start your account, whatever the case may be. Then you have a final walkthrough. Some people do it 3 or 4 days before closing. I think you should do it the day before closing, the night before closing, or the morning of closing, just in case, you go in there, make sure that the repairs you negotiated were done properly, you're happy and satisfied with the repairs, make sure that a pipe didn't burst, a tree didn't fall on the roof, anything like that before you go to closing, because if, you went to closing first and something like that happened, a pipe burst or a tree fell through the house or whatever, and you signed everything, guess what? You're now responsible for it. So I like to do it, the final walkthrough, as close as possible to the actual closing. I believe that's a good rule of thumb. Then finally, here you go. You've got the closing. Good job. You've gotten through everything. You'll go ahead and get a certified bank check made out to the title company that you're closing at. It's probably a good idea to take the entire day off for your closing day. I know some people can't afford to do that, but that's the best rule of thumb. I believe it's a long and stressful process. You've made it through. Take the big picture with the big key of the new home you just bought. Congratulations. I just want to drop a video. I know it's a little long. I hope you stayed with me through the whole video. Again, I hope you're having a great Wednesday. Again, knowledge is power. Knowledge is bliss, not ignorance. So again, until next Monday, like, comment, subscribe. Hit me up if you have any questions.